Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big topics using the data behind them. Today we're talking about a quiet crisis that's creating a massive, once-in-a-generation opportunity in senior housing. And it all starts with one single number.
Okay, let's start with just one number, $800,000. Now, this single figure, it's the key to understanding a massive market dislocation and what might be a trillion-dollar opportunity.
That's right. By the end of this decade, the U.S. is going to be short at least 800,000 senior housing units. And look, this isn't just a small gap. We're talking about a chasm, a massive disconnect between what our society needs and what it currently has. And it's all being driven by this force that, well, you just can't stop.
So that brings us to the two big questions for today. How do we get here? Why is this massive shortage happening right now? And maybe more importantly, what does the data tell us about the opportunity for those who can actually step in and solve it?
All right, so the whole story, it really begins with something super simple, something you just can't argue with: demographics. This isn't some wild guess or a market trend. Nope, it's just math, a certainty that's already playing out as we speak.
So check this out. The scale of the change you're seeing here is just staggering. We're going from about 14 million Americans over the age of 80 today to 21 million in just 10 years. And think about it, this isn't just any population group. The source material calls them the highest acuity, highest move-in cohort. What does that mean in plain English? It means these are the folks who need the most care, the ones most likely to need exactly what senior housing provides.
And if that big number doesn't quite grab you, let's break it down to a daily figure. This one's a real mind-bender.
Yeah, you heard that right. Nearly 10,000 people will be turning 80 every single day for the next decade. Just imagine that for a second, this constant, relentless wave of demand. It's no wonder the data calls this the deepest and most predictable demand curve you'll find in any real estate sector.
Okay, so with demand going through the roof like this, you'd think construction for new senior housing would be booming, right? You'd think people would be racing to keep up. But the data shows us the complete opposite is happening. And right here, this is the heart of it. The source material calls this the big story, and it really is. We're looking at a historic, ever-widening gap between a total explosion in demand and a supply chain that's just seizing up.
So, why is this happening? Well, it's not just one thing. It's a perfect storm. Construction is at a 4-decade low, just as that 80-plus population is about to surge. On top of that, the buildings we do have are getting old, becoming obsolete. And trying to build new ones? Forget about it. The costs are just too high right now.
This supply crisis, combined with that demographic wave, is creating an enormous market. Let's break down the numbers to see just how massive this asset class really is.
First up, let's just look at the raw value of the real estate. The buildings, the land, we're talking over $475 billion. That's a huge number all by itself. But wait, that's literally only half the picture. Now let's add in the money that's generated every single year from all the services. You know, the actual care, the hospitality, the food. That's another $500 billion annually. So when you put it all together, what do you get? You get a $1 trillion plus asset class that, as the source material notes, is entering its most explosive demand cycle in history. Just wow. Now, this huge market isn't just one big blob. It's actually broken down into different pieces, each one offering a different level of care. You've got independent living, which is kind of more like a hotel, hospitality-focused. Then there's assisted living, and that's the fastest growing part of the whole thing. Memory care is for folks with really high acuity needs. And finally, skilled nursing. That's the super clinical, highly regulated end of the spectrum. So let's recap. We've got a $1 trillion market facing a tidal wave of demand. But here's the twist. Unlike other giant industries, senior housing has this unique structural feature, or maybe you'd call it a structural flaw. And that's where the real opportunity for investors comes in.
And this chart, man, it just lays it all out there. This market is unbelievably fragmented. A whopping 75% of these places are run by small mom-and-pop or regional operators. Think about this. The top 5 biggest owners in the entire country, they control less than 5% of the market. It's the total opposite of consolidated.
And that fragmentation, well, it means the market is a bit of a mess. The data's inconsistent, operations are all over the place, and just finding deals can be tough. But here's the thing. That mess is where the opportunity is. All that inefficiency creates a target-rich environment for investors who can bring professionalism, scale, and technology to acquire and turn around these underperforming properties.
Okay, so given this wild landscape, huge demand, low supply, and a super fragmented market, how are savvy investors actually playing this? What are the specific strategies being used to both solve this housing crisis and generate returns?
The source material highlights 5 key investment plays. And the big takeaway here is that the smartest money isn't just focused on building shiny new towers, not at all. It's about finding value. That means targeting affordability for the huge, underserved middle market. It means repositioning older properties, which is far more cost-effective than building from scratch. And it means using technology and consolidation to run these properties more efficiently, driving both better care and better financial returns.
So let's end where we began, with the single undeniable demographic fact that underpins this entire story. This isn't a stock market trend that can reverse or a fad that can fade. It's a simple count of people who are already alive today.
And that's what you should really take away from this. The numbers are locked in. The demographic wave is coming, and it will create both a profound societal challenge and one of the most significant, data-driven market opportunities of our lifetime. The demand is a certainty. The real question is, who will build, buy, and innovate to be ready for it?